about that.
Should I fit?
So we're going live here. I'm gonna just get us set on Instagram, and then we'll be ready to rock and roll with my good friend Anthony. All right. Maybe 15 years ago when my kids were little, I met this dude named Anthony. He was really freaking tall, and his kids were so cute. And they went to the same school. I think they went to the same school that my kids went to. And there was just something about you and Kathy. Kathy is like the most adorable person on the planet, and she's always got this beaming smile, and she's just so authentic. And I just had an instant draw to know you more. And I remember we went to dinner at your house, and you had just released a ton of weight, let go of all of like a big chunk of your body. And I since then I've been following your journey, and not only do you embody the work that you do, but you're also now helping people reach the same heights with their own personal journeys. So with that being said, Anthony, I'm happy you're here. Please introduce yourself to the Staffless Practice community. Who are you? Where are you? What do you do? All of it.
Thank you, and Jody, and of course you already know, but we'll share with the audience. All those feelings are mutual. I mean, we've had that mutual connection ever since, and our families, and it's always interesting how we've kind of weaved in and out, over the years as the kids go through different phases. But I always appreciate you, and I'm really, really excited to be on here chatting with everyone today. So thank you for having me. My name, as you said, is Anthony Masiello. I live in Clinton, New Jersey, not far at all from you. And I run a company called Lifestyle Telemedicine. It's been a really interesting journey. After, as you said, after losing 160 pounds and reclaiming my own health, I've really been on this mission to help other people. That has looked different throughout the years, from individual health coaching to now what I'm doing is I've started this telemedicine platform. And my primary role is indirectly helping others by connecting people with doctors who practice lifestyle medicine.
What is lifestyle medicine? What does that mean?
So lifestyle medicine is helping to essentially create an environment in the body where it can heal itself using lifestyle changes first. So diet, exercise, good quality sleep, valuable, healthy social connections, stress management, avoiding toxic substances. But basically, it's eliminating and reducing all of these risk kind of laden behaviors that we do that makes us sick to begin with. So the first step is you kind of work to eliminate that. Then sometimes it involves kind of hypernourishment, and whether that's in the form of nutrition or exercise or something else, to make sure the body has everything that it needs to both first get healthy and then to stay healthy for a long time. It is an official board certification discipline within medicine. So there is the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and they board certify physicians. In order to be eligible to become board certified as a physician, you already have to be board certified in another discipline of medicine, something like family medicine or internal medicine or something like that. So our doctors are technically double board certified. They do use medications. Their primary goal is to help de-prescribe medications when people are over medicated, or when people's bodies start to heal and their body just requires less medications. But they are fully qualified physicians who can prescribe and do prescribe when necessary. They can order labs, they can do all of that stuff. But it's always a lifestyle first approach. And it's always treating the root cause of what created the illness rather than just treating the symptoms to help people to feel better in the moment.
So is it the kind of thing where there are doctors kind of like in the Lyme world, there are Lyme literate doctors and you can go on that website and find out who they are? Is it the same kind of thing where I can go and find out who the lifestyle MDs in my area are?
Yes, you can go to places like the American College of Lifestyle Medicine, and they have a directory of doctors who've been board certified, and you can look to see if there's a lifestyle medicine doctor near you. But because it's a relatively new discipline in medicine, I think it's been around for about 10 to 15 years. And because it doesn't fit perfectly into the conventional medical system, it's not always easy to find a doctor who you can schedule an appointment with. You might find out that, there's a surgeon in your area who is also board certified in lifestyle medicine, or you may find out that there's a family doctor in your area who's also board certified in lifestyle medicine. But if you book an appointment with them, you may still just get the typical 7 minutes that you can spend with them. And lifestyle intervention takes a lot longer than kind of writing prescriptions.
Right.
So it doesn't mean that you will receive the full kind of lifestyle medicine approach to treating your conditions.
Yeah, I want to go there. I want to talk
Yeah.
about that. So in the book on this shoulder staff list,
Yeah.
the first book that I wrote, I have there's a chapter in it called The Cold Hard Chair Weight. And that was actually inspired by an OBGYN appointment right here in Hunterdon, where
Wow.
it was during the pandemic, and before they even said hi to me, they took my temperature on my forehead. I wasn't even in the office yet. And then I walk into this stale, stinky, sticky floor, crusty magazine office with the glasses up to here, and the lady's looking over and she's drinking her Diet Coke, and she's like, "Give me your insurance card." And I was like, "Can you at least say hello to me?" And then there's an hour-long wait, and you spend I don't even think I spent 7 minutes with a doctor to hear, "You're great, I'll see you in a year." And it's like, if my time's worth $1,000 an hour, I just spent over an hour in this appointment to be treated like I was this little, with zero inspiration about getting healthy. And then there's the other side of the coin, where you go to a doctor and their office is filled with mold. The doctor looks exhausted, adrenal fatigue, left, right, and center. And I don't want to take health advice from that. Most of the people who I learned from are people like you, or my chiropractic friends, who they have a spring in this step. They're silly. They laugh a lot. They eat real food. That's who I get inspired by. So let's say that you're starting on your health journey and you haven't lost the 160 pounds yet. And you're like, "I'm just not feeling good. I'm getting headaches every day. My back hurts. My feet are always swollen. I'm on 8 different medications." Where does that person start?
Yeah. And what you've described are all the problems with the conventional medical system that we're dealing with today. And I don't think there's any one individual. I would guess every single one of those doctors and even those receptionists that you've dealt with, started off in that field because they wanted to help people and they had the absolute best intentions in the world. The thing is that the system breaks us down over time. In order for that doctor to be able to pay their rent, to pay their staff, to pay their insurance costs, which just go through the roof, and to make all their expenses, they have to continue to reduce the amount of time they spend. So they do all of this work outside of the appointment, and the doctor basically just rotates from room to room to room as patients go in and out.
During that process of going overwhelmed and undernourished and becoming a medical industry, they don't even recognize that that's happening. It's normal to go to a doctor and sit for an hour. Can you imagine if you went to a chiropractor? I mean, some of my friends who are crushing it in practice, you do wait an hour, right?
Yeah.
But if we could get away with a fifth of the percentage of things without being called quack or fake or whatever it is, I mean, we would be setting balloons up in the air, having parties. But I feel like the more we go into post-pandemic era, the more I'm like, is anybody else seeing what's happening here?
I think a lot of people are. And to answer your question directly, what you asked is what I did, and what most people I see who are really getting healthy and thriving is they're stepping outside of that system. And that's how you have to do it. And that's where wellness is right now. I mean, there are handouts and there are poster boards in the office, and there are these things that are really, truly, generally centered around wellness. But the system isn't they're kind of on the sidelines, right? And how I got healthy was I stepped out of the system. I read Dr. Joel Fuhrman's book, Eat to Live. I did exactly what it said. I lost 160 pounds in 20 months. I got off all my medications in about 3 or 4 months. And I've been living very happily and healthfully ever since. My journey started with being denied a 20-year term life insurance policy at age 33. I'm 53 now. I beat them, right? Like they didn't expect me, they didn't insure me
Wow.
because they didn't expect me to make it until today. October of last year was my 20-year mark, so that's what the conventional system, those are the rails that I was on if I would have continued in that system. But instead, for whatever reason, I was highly motivated as a new dad and all these other things. I stepped out, and then I got incredibly lucky because I happened to find a book that was really based on solid evidence and that could really help me. It wasn't kind of just, it was solid information, right? And it was, again, from someone like yourself, someone like me, someone like our doctors, people who really are caring about change, not only helping individuals, but also changing the system so that more and more and more people can find this information. So that's what people are still doing today. And that's why, even at Lifestyle Telemedicine, even though these are board certified doctors who are practicing legitimate legal, providing legitimate legal medical care, like we can't bill insurance. Like people have to pay out of pocket. And we provide them with the super bill. We take HSA or FSA funds. We do everything and anything we can to try to make it affordable. But the current medical system won't reimburse for a 1-hour appointment to talk about preventing disease from coming in the future, or even a 30-minute appointment. We have 30 and 60-minute appointments. That's all 100% time with the doctor. And you almost can't get that anywhere else. And our intake forms are big. They're not big because they ask, because they ask a lot of unnecessary questions. They ask you things like, where do you find joy in your life? What are your health and wellness goals? Like the doctor wants to understand all of these things before they meet with the patient so that they can really provide that kind of care. And I don't believe that the current medical system, the standard medical system, allows for that at all. And that's the problem that we're all working against.
Right. I heard somebody talk about the medical system as an industry. They were saying it like they were talking about the weather. And I'm like, how backwards is it that our medical system is considered an industry? And last week's guest was talking about how 70% of Americans have an inflammatory disease. 70%, Anthony.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So I think about, there's somebody in my life who is he walks around with a Ziploc of medication, and he's probably 100 pounds overweight, and blood sugar up and down and up and down. And again, where does somebody either like that or somebody who might be more on the pendulum swing of, I'm 52. I'm talking about myself now. This month I'm off of sugar and dairy and all grains, but who knows what I'm going to be doing next month, right? Yeah. And I just want to be healthier. I want my joints to be less inflamed. I want to be able to do 5 pull-ups instead of 2 pull-ups. Where do both of those people start in this journey?
Yeah. And it's so hard because I can shamelessly plug Lifestyle Telemedicine, and I can talk about what we do.
Tell us about it.
Because we are here for those people. And we're even here for the people who are already well and just want to make sure that they don't get well in the future. It really is all about what our doctors focus on is moving people along their continuum of what healthy looks for them. Because you just explained 2 different people. You explained somebody who kind of needs to do some repair work and some damage control. And you also explained someone who's doing pretty well and wants to then kind of up themselves to their next level. And for no other reason than to feel better and good, with yourself and proud of yourself. And that's important. So what our doctors do, and we get kind of criticized for this sometimes because we don't have a program. When you come to our website, it doesn't say, hey, this is what we do for you first, second, and third. But the reason we don't do that is because it's so individualized. And when I'm explaining to someone in long form, I can say, look, the first step you do is you schedule an initial appointment. And a new patient appointment can either be 30 or 60 minutes. It's up to the patient, what they're willing to do, what they want to do, what they can afford to do. The doctors, of course, would always prefer an hour because they can go deeper. But what they do during that hour is they do like a full audit of your current health conditions, your health history, your current lifestyle, and your goals, right? And your goals are the most important thing. I think it's like the third question in our intake form. It's like, how did you find us? What are your health and wellness goals? Something like that. Because the doctor frames everything, based on your goals. And some people's goals are to get off medication. Some people's goals are to lose weight. Some people's goals are to reduce inflammation. But it's always a deeper reason. They want to reduce inflammation so that they can feel better when they walk, or they can sit more comfortably, or they can do what's the real world reason for what you want to get better? Like any of us could want to lower our cholesterol, but why do you want to lower your cholesterol, right? Like you want to lower your cholesterol so that you're at a lower risk of a heart attack or something that could hurt you, right? Going forward, you want to reduce your inflammation so that you feel better. I don't know, maybe so that you sleep better, maybe so you move better, but whatever it could be. And then they start to talk to you, and then they learn, right? Like, what are your preferences? What are your habits? What kind of things are you willing to do? What kind of things are you not willing to do? Because, the book I read was really hard-nosed. You have to do exactly this and nothing else. And that won't work for everybody, right? Mm-hmm. So our doctors take that individualized approach, and then they give you like your individual kind of treatment plan, right? Where if somebody is, let's say, newly diagnosed type 2 diabetic, just got on medications and wants to get off as soon as possible, the doctor might try to meet with them, every 2 weeks or every 4 weeks for a short period of time while they're reducing medication and making big changes. Someone like yourself, who's what you just mentioned, you want to be able to do more pull-ups, so you want to be able to build muscle and strength, you want to be able to, to do other things, maybe checking in twice a year and setting out a clear plan for what to do with milestones. Like, how will you know it's working when you're at home or when you're in the gym? So it's really individualized medical care. That's not just treating the surface level of kind of obvious ailments or conditions, but really treating like what's the foundation that's necessary to help people to get.
So they meet with you in like a telehealth room, and then they order labs. Is that how it works?
They can order labs, and while the price of the visit, it's paid out of pocket, and then we give you that super bill for reimbursement. If they order labs, that's covered just as it would from any other doctor. Like when you go, if you have good insurance and you go for your lab work, the lab work is covered, as long as it's deemed medically necessary. And if you need labs, they will send you for labs. We don't make any money on the labs. So it's not like we have a panel of labs that we want everyone to do. Again, it's individualized. Right. And then they will either, share those with you, or they may need to go over them with you. Again, it depends on what you're dealing with. And the same thing would be true about any medications, or in some cases, some supplements. But again, we're not selling the supplements. They're just making recommendations, and they're telling you, you can go find them, whether it's at your local store, whether it's at Amazon. They will help you with brands that have been third-party verified, things like that. They'll tell you all of that. But again, we're not selling that. We're really only selling the actual.
And what do you say to, like, I'm thinking as a devil's advocate, yeah. Well, I want my doctor to listen to my heartbeat and like touch me and
and there are some limitations. There are some limitations because these are very responsible doctors. And when somebody calls up and they say, I've got this persistent cough, I want to see one of the doctors, we have to say, I'm sorry, you need to go see somebody who can put a stethoscope on your lungs and determine if you've got pneumonia. Or if someone has a suspected infection, like, our doctors are not going to be able to diagnose that and decide whether you benefit from just waiting it out or if you need an antibiotic or not. They can't do some of those things. But most of the conditions that people are dealing with, they can do via counseling. If someone has high blood pressure, they will recommend a high blood pressure cuff that you can buy. And, usually these things are $30 at the pharmacy, and people can go and buy them. And then the doctor will teach them how to take their blood pressure and how to do that stuff.
Do you think this is where medicine is going in the United States?
I mean, I think we're kind of at a point right now where it's kind of branching. I relate this back to like the kind of natural foods movement that came like maybe in the 80s or so. Um, when we used to have these specialty stores, and that was the only place you could go to get organic produce,
Right.
or that was the only place that you could go for this. Now we can go to ShopRite or any grocery store and we can find this. So I think we're at a point where this is new, and it's like these small, innovative kind of boutique locations is where you can get this kind of care. But I feel I'm a pretty optimistic person, and my hope and intention is that this is going to come back in, and that this will become more mainstream, and it will become integrated. I think it's just going to take years to change the current medical system, and
Yeah.
just like it did for like natural foods and organic produce, right? Like it took years before we could get that at the regular grocery store or
It's
even
so
Costco
funny.
or Walmart, right?
When I was 19, I got sober when I was 19, and I started working at Whole Earth Center in Princeton as
Wow.
soon as I got sober. And I really got the job, not because I was interested in health food, but because I had to practice talking to people because I didn't know how to talk to people sober. So I would go and I would practice like looking in people's eyes and saying, "How is your day going?" Like really, I had to learn how to do everything all over. Right. And
Wow.
what happened is I fell in love with health food, and I fell in love with
Yeah.
chiropractic in that role. And at that time, the Whole Earth Center was the place in Princeton to get your natural foods. And
Yeah.
the people who worked there were like all crunchy and living the
Yeah.
natural food lifestyle. Like it was not only like where you got your bulk oats, it was where you learned about oats, and like you met the farmer, and
Right.
and now it's become so watered down, not necessarily Whole Earth,
Yeah.
but like you can go to Walmart and get oats in bulk, So
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see what you're saying. I'm curious to see how this model of well care is, how it lines up with care. Like if you go to Sweden and you have a flu and you go to the doctor and they offer you homeopathy and herbs and chiropractic care, will that become the norm here too? Because Anthony, people are fed up and they're sick,
Yeah.
and they don't know what to do. And the industry feeds sick. It doesn't feed
Yeah.
health. And then the people who are feeding health are the quacks, right? And we've been called quack. I'm now in my 26th year of practice, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you can call me whatever the hell you want. Go face down and watch what happens. So
Yeah. It's true. And I don't know where it's going to go. And then largely, I think it depends on us. And when I say us, it's the people who are like yourself, who are providing better health care, and like our doctors who are providing this kind of care. I think it's the people like myself now who have stepped out and are trying to work on a new business model for true health care. And 100%, it's also the patients, because
right.
it's going to depend on the number of people who are willing to step out, willing to reach into their own pockets for a better life, and willing to support themselves while outside of the conventional system to get well. And together, all of those people are going to create an example model that can be copied. And once that model can be copied or can be integrated into the mainstream, then we have to see how long it stays real or pure, right? Until it gets watered down to the extent where, now, I don't know, can organic oats include glyphosate? I don't know. Like then these questions creep in, but they creep in so much further down the road. And it's such an emergency right now. Better healthcare is such an emergency right now, especially in our country here, that I think all of us need to be, doing whatever we can to try to make these improvements over time. And that's why I appreciate our patients more than anything in the world. And I was in those shoes, right? I mean, I still am in those shoes. I still see a doctor at our telemedicine practice for everything that I need to. And if I get hurt where I need to be seen in person, I'll go to someone locally. But
Mhm.
but but together I say we're all innovating the healthcare system, and we're all trying to make it better. And people are watching, like when I say the bigger decision makers, the insurance companies are the ones that are dominating the decision making right now. I mean, they're the ones who are telling people what kind of care they can and can't receive, because they're telling the people who they insure what they are willing and not willing to reimburse.
And then meat and dairy industry are telling people what they should eat.
Right.
They're the people with the money.
The food system goes hand in hand with our like our sick system.
You got to think about, like, you got to look at the ad and look at the commercial and look at the message and ask yourself the question, who is this benefiting?
Yeah, exactly.
And that is more true now than I never know. And I say this to Jim all the time. I never know if it's always been that way, or if it's really that way now, or if it's just that I'm 52 and things look a lot different than they did when I was 32 because of my lenses changing. I don't know if it's my perspective or things evolving and going, because everything evolves into like whatever is true is going to be untrue, and then it's going to have stages of truth, and it will continue to evolve. And in 100 years, this conversation will be very different. I wonder how it will be different. And my guess is that what you're doing is going to be part of the shape shifting of the conversation changing.
Yeah, and I hope so. And I think that's true for all of us, and I would guess everything is changing. I would guess those ads are getting better. Those ads are learning how to hit home, and your perspective is changing, as you get old and, older. I'm older than you, so I could say as you get older.
You're not a lot older. Yeah.
I know, but you know what I mean? Like, as we get more experience and as we see more things, these things jump out to us. Also, it depends on what we're into. If I'm reading, if I'm reading a book about something, then I start to notice it everywhere. Right. So it's how we kind of open our own minds to receive these messages differently. And, one of the ones that I think it just jumps out at me all the time is, I don't know, somehow this started, and I think this is probably true everywhere, but it's like, seems like it's kind of tradition to give a baby their first kind of sweets on their first birthday. Like, I don't know, at least it was in our families, like on the first birthdays, it's like the kid can't even sit up itself, right? It's still in a high chair, and you have a birthday cake for it because you're celebrating, and there's candles, and someone helps the kid blow out the candles. Then you put this birthday cake on this high chair in front of this kid, and the kid like kind of touches it and plays with it. It doesn't know what it is because it's never tasted something so sweet or sugar before. But then, like, they play with it, and sometimes the parents even push the baby's hand towards the baby's mouth, right? But something happens, and whether the kid does it himself or someone helps them, the kid gets their first taste of this icing in this birthday cake. And like literally at that moment in time, something changes.
Right.
Like now the expectation of what tastes good just went from here to like off the charts. Right. And you can see it. And when you zoom out and when you think about it, that kid is now chasing that same kind of level of flavor hit and rush and sugar craving for the rest of their lives. Right. How often are people looking forward to their sweets or their desserts or going somewhere for, a coffee and a pastry, and like it's forever. Right. But thinking about it from a behavior perspective, like, it's no, different than tempting someone with anything else, right? Like you've almost created an addiction at that moment, and we all do it out of love and caring. So like, it's the same behavior, but like the way I'm starting to look at that now is very different than when I had my own kids and they were in their high chair and we gave them that cake for the first time. We did it too. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying, like we have so many societal norms that work against us that we create these really difficult situations.
I've had the feedback, and I won't say who from, of like bringing bringing an organic popsicle to second grade birthday party that has like natural sweeteners in it, while the other kids are eating cupcakes that are filled with red 40 and all this other chemical crap. It does isolate the kid. And what I've been told is that isolation is more detrimental than just eating the red 40. Right. Yeah. So I think there's a balance to all of it. I do want to jump to this. I remember at one point, I think it was like 8 years ago, I reached out to you for nutrition consulting, and I'm just remembering this. I remember you saying like, the first step is just fill your plate with veggies, and the veggies are the fill-in. The veggies are like the bulk of the course. And then the other stuff is the condiment. Would you still say that that's true when it comes to nutrition?
Yes, I think, and I would just add fruits and vegetables. I mean, we could generalize a little bit: fruits and vegetables and whole grains. And what worked for me this time, I mean, I had tried to lose weight my entire life, right? But when I read that book and when I started changing, the message that overplayed in my head over and over was eat more vegetables, eat more fruits, right? And that was my goal. And every day I just set out to eat more vegetables, and I let that displace other things, right? And it displaced cheese pizza, but it displaced it from the point of having 3 slices of cheese pizza to now having a huge salad and 1 slice of cheese pizza. Like it doesn't, like, our bodies work so much better when we concentrate on what we do want than what we don't want. And all we have to do is say, I can't have the meat, or I can't have cheese, or I can't have sugar, or I can't have this. And then we become obsessed with those things that we can't have. So,
but if you're like, ooh, what fruit am I going to have today? Honestly, I look forward to my apples. And
I'm sure.
If you told me that I would be saying that a year ago, I would have told you that you were smoking something funny. But honestly, like, if you put 3 big, gorgeous organic apples in front of me, it lights me up, right? Yeah. And it's just a matter of changing the channel. It's like, take the channel changer and change it. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're looking forward to apples instead of candy or pizza. We're at time, actually. Anything else that we didn't say that you really wanted to say?
No, I want to express my appreciation to everyone who's out there, who is working kind of outside the system and who's trying to make it work, because it's not easy. I think, like, resources that you share that help people to develop sustainable practices and keep them running over time are absolutely invaluable. The thing we didn't get to talk much about is finding joy through the process of doing this, because it is hard work and it's very easy to just let it weigh us down. And I've experienced, up and down throughout my career, points in time where I'm putting my work first and I'm suffering personally, in the process. And that's not the goal. And I want to thank you for helping to bring that out and to help other people to just catch that. We just have to catch it when it's happening. We just have to catch it and learn how to turn it around. So, I guess that's. I just want to share some appreciation to everyone for, for innovating and for pushing and for working towards better health for everybody.
Yeah, ditto. I feel the same way. And if you guys want to learn more about Anthony, it's lifestyletelemedicine.com. I'm telling you that my name is on this referral. This is a good dude, you guys, and his whole family. Anthony's got these kids that are just, they're like, there's something so authentic about them. Like, when they smile, you feel it in your heart. And I think Kathy's the same way. I think you guys are the cat's meow. And I'm so grateful that you took the time. If you're watching this episode, go make the world better with great care. Anthony, please stay on. Everybody else, enjoy your day. Make it count. Make it beautiful.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Jody.